fiasco that's going on in Dolton, Illinois didn't just start yesterday. It didn't just start 2 years ago. Hell, it didn't just start 4 years ago. The last mayor, Riley Roberts, and all these other mayors in the past, Dolton has had issues for a long time. This guy was mixed up in a whole bunch of crap, a whole bunch of garbage coming into Mayor Tiffany Henyard and all the things that we saw going on with her. So now we see the feds on the ground. We see, like I said, arguments and damn near fights and riots going on at trustee meetings. We saw her lock people out. We saw her say she's the super mayor, and trustee Andrew Holmes twerking it up and dancing and all kinds of stuff. But there was an allegation going on with the past mayor, Riley Rogers, for allegedly putting out a racist commercial or some racist content when they was having a mayor race. Y'all don't believe me? Check this out. This is how crazy this stuff has been going on in Dolton. When you really do some research and you look back and you see what's going on, it gets real goofy and crazy. Check this out.
In other news, the mayor of Dolton says it was not him.
Riley Rogers says he had nothing to do with this controversial flyer we showed you last night at 10. Today, CBS 2's Sandra Torres went straight to the source, and it's all new at 5.
We're not behind it. I'm going to tell you that 100%.
Dolton Mayor Riley Rogers responds to accusations that his campaign was behind this controversial flyer. It depicts 3 black political candidates as members of an old prison chain gang.
We have not put out any hate mail. From the very beginning, we ran our campaign the way we started, a professional campaign.
The flyer specifically includes superimposed faces of mayoral candidate Stanley Brown, along with fellow trustees Robert Hunt Jr. and Tiffany Henyard. In the foreground is Thornton Township Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli.
I think it's my opponent, Stanley Brown, because of the type of literature that they started out with.
The mayor's a liar.
But trustee Stanley Brown continues to stand his ground.
Why are you so certain that it was Mayor Rogers who's behind this?
Because that's his tactic. I look at 2 years ago, he did the same thing to some other opponents that was actually running as trustees.
I'm disappointed.
While trustee Duane Muhammad, the 3rd candidate in the mayoral race, believes the flyer is a distraction and does not want to be involved.
It's a turnoff for these voters, and we're too mature for that. We're going to live in the same neighborhood when this election is over. We're going to have to still work with one another, but this literature has put a stain on the village of Dolton.
And Mayor Rogers is now accusing the Brown campaign of printing his personal cell phone number on a campaign flyer. Mr. Brown's campaign does not deny that they want Dolton residents to contact the mayor and say no to plans for a strip club. The mayor says there is no strip club in the works. The election is on Tuesday. Live in the newsroom, Sandra Torres, CBS 2 News. Jim, Mai.
Sandra, thank you.
So you see trustee Stan Brown in that video. He's upset. You got the other trustee saying he's disappointed. This was from 7 years ago. So what I'm saying was you already had shenanigans and all kinds of stuff going on in that city. But then you get the Mayor Tiffany Henyard. When she was a trustee, she was a slumlord already. She was already doing stuff with the PHA, running scams, having homes that wasn't fit for people to live in. She was questioned by the news, and she walked in with listen, what you see going on now was already going on there. That's why I said the whole city of Dolton needs an overhaul. Everybody needs to go. Because when you do your investigation, you start saying, well, wait a minute. This thing didn't just start with Tiffany. Way before Tiffany was the mayor, they was already wilding. It was already out of control. Check this out.
Ever since the Dolton house they were renting from village trustee Tiffany Henyard was slapped with this.
A big red sign that I cannot live there because it's unlivable.
Unlivable mostly because of mold.
All mold. Even growing on the bottom of the shoes is mold.
Mold that Smith's landlord, trustee Henyard, pledged to immediately clean up after we first reported on the problem in August.
And that's where it started.
Smith says workers came and painted. The house even passed a village inspection. Issues abated, notes Inspector Brian Thigpen in this September report, except they weren't.
It's horrible.
Enter activist David Lowry, who called Dolton directly. Suddenly, the house deemed livable on September 3rd became unfit for occupancy on October 15th. Lowry's theory?
the trustee used her power and influence.
We caught up with Henyard before last week's board meeting. I want to talk to you about that house on Dearborn. Can we do that?
My attorney's right here, so if you got any questions, I have legal counsel. Talk to my attorney.
So you want me to talk to your attorney and not you? You can't tell me how that house failed an inspection in October when it just passed it beforehand?
If you have any questions, talk to my attorney.
So we did.
The inspection process is within control of the village, not of the trustee. She has been instructed by the village attorney to be treated just like any other property owner.
Dolton's attorney says the house's inspection history is under investigation. And village records show a slew of past problems, with the house passing, then failing, then passing inspections for years, even before the Housing Authority of Cook County approved it as a rental property eligible for government housing assistance money, or Section 8. An HACC employee says as a landlord, Henyard's received $36,866 taxpayer dollars in Section 8 rent payments since 2017, when Smith moved in. Money that kept coming even after this foreclosure notice was filed against the house last year.
And see with the allegations of Keith Freeman, where y'all don't like Keith Freeman, but y'all remember when she hired this guy who did 26 years in prison for SA allegations, right? She doesn't like to do background checks. Y'all remember that she was arrested in her past. She has a criminal record, and she's a city elected official. But she doesn't like to do background checks because she wants to bring the people into her regime. She got all the criminals running this. She brought this guy in, all jokes aside though, who did 26 years in prison for SA, and the community was outraged. Y'all remember this?
We pay rapists with our tax dollars in Dolton. We pay rapists with tax dollars in Dolton.
Frustration growing in South suburban Dolton after a Fox 32 investigation uncovers a registered child sex offender was recently put on the payroll.
Now some residents are calling for the mayor's resignation.
Dane Placco first broke the story and reports the pressure is building at Village Hall.
We want transparency.
About 20 Dolton residents and a couple trustees protest outside Village Hall today, furious after a Fox 32 investigation found this registered child sex offender on the public payroll.
A sex offender, you don't give them carte blanche to go into different people's homes.
46-year-old Lavelle Redmond is close friends with Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who in September hired Redmond as a code enforcement officer without the village board's approval. Redmond served 25 years in prison for the brutal gang rape and beating of 2 young teenage girls in the 1990s, and was arrested and charged after our first story aired for violating the reporting requirements of the sex offender registry. But Mayor Henyard says her friend deserves a second chance, infuriating a number of Dolton residents.
Dolton is going to go down if these people are, they just need to get out of office as a whole.
You'd like to see them?
They need a recall on the mayor.
Fox 32 has also obtained this cell phone video showing Redmond interacting with the mayor and little children at a back-to-school event in Dolton. Notice the badge on his waist.
I think it's deplorable that you've hired a person that has the history that he does, and you've given him a badge and a car to roam our village.
The protesters are also calling for the departure of former Cook County Circuit Court Clerk Dorothy Brown, whom Henyard hired as a village administrator, making $100,000 a year, despite numerous scandals and an ongoing federal investigation into bribery under her county tenure.
Dorothy Brown needs to go back to the city of Chicago. Dorothy Brown is bringing Dorothy Brown tactics out here in the village.
A spokesperson for Henyard says the mayor has no comment about the calls for her resignation and no intentions on dumping the registered child sex offender from the village payroll. In Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Then we also get to the point where we saw where village trustees were saying that they were locked out. And they wouldn't let people come in, and it was almost a riot. Well, that's nothing new. Tiffany Henyard been doing this. We can go back 2 years ago. We could see trustees being locked out, right? And they're arguing and bringing on the news and everything. This stuff has been going on for some time. Check this out.
A political feud between the mayor of South Suburban Dolton and the village trustees tonight. Trustees say they're not allowed in Village Hall.
WGN's Patrick Elwood is in Dolton tonight with more on what's going on. Patrick?
Ray and Micah, good evening to you. The mayor locking the trustees out of Village Hall tonight, forcing them to have a meeting out in the parking lot, all of which has Dolton residents shaking their heads in disbelief.
We as citizens, as residents of Dolton, have been shut out of a building that we pay taxes on, along with the trustees being shut out of this building.
That is longtime Dolton Village resident Minister Deborah White talking about what happened today at Village Hall, or more like what was supposed to happen. Village Board is on one side and the mayor, Tiffany Henyard, I'm told, on the other.
This is the second time she did this.
Edward Steve is a trustee along with 5 others, called a meeting 2 days ago to appoint their own legislative attorney to try to advance their agenda.
Trustee Norwood hosting the village meeting that is scheduled for September 2nd at 6 p.m., giving 48-hour notice. I just want everybody to see that it is being posted.
Reason being, they say, the mayor and her village attorney have blocked their efforts at every turn. Tonight, they say they were locked out of the village hall and forced to hold their meeting with a quorum, they add, in the parking lot.
We had a quorum, we had the clerk, and we had a board meeting outside.
Why the pushback on her part, you think?
Well, there's things on the agenda that she doesn't want us to pass.
Things got heated when some of the mayor's allies showed up, I'm told. Valerie Stubbs, a former trustee, can't believe what's going on here.
I think it's deplorable for her to lock out elected officials, not only the residents, but the elected officials also, so they can conduct the business of the village.
Mayor, this is Patrick Elwood from WGN TV, trying to reach you so I can get some participation, some kind of comment from you in the story I'm doing tonight about what happened here out at the Village Hall.
All of this has residents like Deborah White exasperated because she says Dolton has so many needs now and political infighting is not helping anyone.
We're sitting in the parking lot instead of being in a building that our tax dollars pay for, and our tax dollars pay the salary of the sitting mayor and the trustees.
So, to state the obvious, I have not heard back from the mayor as of the 9 o'clock hour. I'm also told she closed Village Hall a half hour early. That said, what's next? Well, the attorney representing the trustees says that he's going to reach out to Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul tomorrow morning, first thing, and ask him to officially investigate all of this. Reporting from Dolton tonight, Patrick Elwood, WGN News. Ray and Micah, back to you in the studio.
So finally you get to the trustees because now the feds is on the ground. After years and years and years of just people not running the city right. A whole bunch of foolishness going on. To me, Tiffany Henyard just came in and picked up where everything was just basically picked off and picked up everything that was already going on in the town. She's not doing nothing new. She didn't come and rewrite everything. She just came in. This was status quo. The town is just messed up. So now you have trustees talking to the news saying this.
This is wonderful news. We've been waiting on this for some time, and now finally someone has heard us.
Jubilation in South Suburban Dolton after federal agents serve a pair of subpoenas on Village Hall, part of what appears to be a blossoming corruption investigation into Dolton's mayor, Tiffany Henyard.
Today, Fox 32 obtained copies of those 2 subpoenas, which offer something of a roadmap to that federal investigation. Our Dane Placco has more.
Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We showed Dolton trustee Tammy Brown the subpoenas that were delivered by 4 FBI agents at Dolton Village Hall Friday afternoon. Directed to the Village of Dolton's custodian of records, they're headlined "Subpoena to Testify Before a Grand Jury." And that's significant because it's our first official confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of rampant corruption in Dolton. In fact, the subpoena discloses they began meeting in November of last year.
Oh my God. Someone has heard our cry. Finally, someone has heard the residents of Dolton. and they're actually going to do something about it now.
One of the subpoenas asks for personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed the list of names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
Ask you a couple questions. The other subpoena asks for information about Village Administrator Keith Freeman, Mayor Henyard's top deputy, who you may remember tried to block us from talking to the mayor when we did a story about her police security detail last year.
Why do you need so many officers, details, or your security?
The subpoena focusing on Freeman asks for payments, tax records, and any contracts given to a list of companies, some of which are associated with Freeman according to a search of LLC records.
It would be my somewhat educated guess that there have been allegations raised by third parties that those businesses, or at least some of them, were sham businesses. They didn't really exist. They provided no legitimate services. And he was submitting phony invoices to the village, which were being paid.
Former FBI agent Ross Rice says even though the subpoenas require Dolton to turn over the records to the grand jury on May 13th, it's likely the investigation is nowhere near wrapping up.
You have two separate subpoenas for two different types of records. And that means it's what I would call a multifaceted or a multi-pronged investigation.
Last week, Freeman was charged with bankruptcy fraud for allegedly underreporting his income at Dolton and Thornton Township by about $100,000. Trustees who've been battling Henyard say after seeing Freeman all over the federal subpoenas, it's time for him to go.
Termination, not suspension, pending investigation. The investigation is ongoing. Termination. Immediately.
The only response to the subpoenas from Mayor Henyard so far came on social media over the weekend when she posted, quote, "To all you clowns that's a part of the circus, stop chasing fake news." In Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
I'll say this in closing. You know, when you do a thorough investigation and you start to really go back, you see videos of Keith Freeman talking all kinds of stuff, basically telling on himself, telling you the stuff that he was doing. We see that he has an extensive background, extensive criminal record from state to state. We see the stuff that went on with former Mayor Riley Rogers, and we've seen videos of Tiffany Henyard before she even became the mayor. Her erratic behavior, her already showing to be a slumlord and frauding the PHA and allegedly doing all kinds of stuff. We saw. Man, this is crazy, man. This is real crazy. Like I said, she hired this guy that was a former SA offender. It gets real tricky and goofy going on. So if these are all the things that we know, what about all the stuff that we don't know? What about all the stuff going on that we didn't see yet? What else is going to be uncovered now that the feds is there? Because you have good people of Dolton that's been screaming and crying and hollering the whole time. Like, yo, these people are crooked. There's a lot of wild stuff going on here. This stuff has been being called out. But to me, when you use common sense and you look at these cities, this stuff has been going on. She didn't just come into office wilding out and behaving this way. She came into office that was into a place that was already a cesspool. It was already wild. It was already crazy. It was already just up for grabs. People just doing what they want to do in the town. And then here she come. And all she did, I'm going to tell y'all, all she did was cut them out. And once she cut them out, everybody was disgruntled. Everybody was upset because they wasn't getting a piece of the pie. That's why I'm glad the feds did. Go there and wipe it all out, man. Everybody got to go start it all over with some new people. Start it all over. Because you can see a history of this. This is not nothing new. But I'm going to cut this video short here, man. If you made it this far, hit that like button. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think. Comment in the comment section, man. Let's keep it going. Because this isn't the only town in America that's behaving this way. And it's not a black thing. It's towns all across America. You have disgruntled white people, disgruntled black people, disgruntled Latinos, administrations that's being ran like this. And you got to do away with these kind of people. You got to do away with this kind of stuff, man. Because it's wrong for the taxpayers and their hard-earning money, man. It's hard to make money out here today, and then you hire people that you trust to run your city, and they come in there and they carry on like this. But yeah, leave your comments in the comment section. Make sure you guys is subscribing to our 501c3, our Urban Nerds, man. Make sure you guys are subscribing to our Urban Nerds Worldwide. www.urbannerdsworldwide website, our 501c3 for inner city youth. All right? And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.